And welcome to the 14th December 2012, another edition of Health Research Report. And just to give you a heads up on today's stories, just so you don't have to listen to the whole thing if there's nothing that interests you. Frog in a bucket of milk folklore leads to potential new antibiotics. How could that not be interesting? Pharmacy researcher finds most popular weight loss drug strongly alters other drug therapies. Oh, it gets much worse than that. Changes in the gut bacteria protect against stroke. In vitro study finds digested formula, but not breast milk, is toxic to cells. Real important. And it's going in this order too. And viruses cooperate or conquer to cause maximum destruction. Interesting. Alright, to start off, story number 1. Frog in a bucket of milk. Folklore leads to potential new antibiotics. Now this actually sounded really gross. Actually, no, it actually is gross. Alright, what it comes down to this. This is produced in the ACS Journal of Proteome Research. Alright, I guess old Russian folklore used to take the Russian brown frog and throw it in a bucket of milk so the milk never went bad. And according to the story, it went like this. Following up on an ancient Russian way of keeping milk from going sour. Of course, refrigeration helps too. By putting a frog in the bucket of milk, scientists have identified a wealth of new antibiotic substances in the skin of the Russian brown frog. And it basically says this is the Russian brown frog had 21 substances with antibiotic and other potential medical activity. Now, before you write it off as totally gross, obviously it worked, and there's something to say for our ancestors discovering this. I don't know how they discovered it, but obviously someone decided to put a frog in the milk and obviously did not get sick. Alright. They describe lab tests which some of the substances performed as well against salmonella and staph as prescription antibiotic medicines. And they believe that this can explain the health benefits to the traditional experience of rural populations. So, lacking refrigeration, got some milk hanging around and from Russian brown frogs. There, now you learn something totally new. Alright, now, pharmacy research finds most popular weight loss drug strongly alters other drug therapies. It's a lot worse than this, so I'm going to read it so I don't get sued. Because this is published in the Biochemical Pharmacology online version. Alright, the weight loss drug that's so bad, and well, it's not just bad, it's like bad. A University of Rhode Island researcher has discovered that the weight loss drug Orlistat, known by the brand names as Xenical and Alli, you know, the ones you see in the grocery stores all piled up and say, here, lose some body fat. Well, yeah, obviously you may lose more than just body fat. Inhibits a key enzyme that may lead to severe toxicity of internal organs such as the liver and kidney. The inhibition is irreversible. It can be caused by just a low level of the drug. Now, I regret that I didn't say how low. 1 capsule a day, 1 capsule a week, or what it is. But still, Alright. Basically, they said this was funded by the National Institute of Health, so not some competing weight loss organization. Found that the drug alters the efficacy of medicines. And this is what cued them in. They found out that Orlistat, or Alli, or Xenical, whatever you want to call it, when it was originally approved by the FDA back in 1999, it was not supposed to be absorbed into the bloodstream. Well, obviously, they were wrong. It not only got absorbed into the bloodstream, it got absorbed into your internal organs. And what it did, it inhibited an enzyme which is used to detox the body, called carboxyl esterase 2. Sorry about this long pronunciation. Carboxyl esterase 2, which is a major detoxification enzyme of the liver, kidneys, and gastrointestinal tract. So all it does, it not only blocks the fats from being absorbed into your body, whatever fats they may be, including your fat-soluble vitamins, vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E, but it also blocks your body's ability to detox it. It detoxes itself, which is why it interferes with drugs, including aspirin, which will enhance your likelihood of bleeding to death. Alright, so Xenical, Alli, or Orlistat, the exact same thing, 3 different names, kind of like an alias to a crime. not good for the liver and kidneys. So something you tell your friends coming around this 1st of July when all the New Year's resolutions come around, unless you really don't like them. Alright, changes in gut bacteria protect against stroke. Now the reason I brought this up is because it's interesting. The bacteria that they're talking about, well, first of all, let's back this up a little bit. This is in Nature Communications. It was published on December 4th, 2012. Alright, what they discovered is between stroke survivors or stroke victims and basically people that did not, is that the gut bacteria of the stroke individuals was very low in a particular probiotic, or bacteria I should say, that was responsible for the production of carotenoids. Now carotenoids, you may remember, as part of the vitamin A family, beta-carotenes, things along those lines, which ironically, through the wisdom of our nutritional foundation of the world, was trying to tell people it sucks, don't take vitamin A derivatives or provitamin A's because it'll eventually kill you. Well, obviously it turns out to be the opposite, because for carotenoids for a long period of time help protect against cardiovascular disease and heart disease and stroke. So what the research discovered is those people that had stroke had very low levels of the probiotics responsible for the production of carotenoids. And they say eventually it may be preferable to take these probiotics instead, which may be true. But it's coolly made the relationship at all. And something to think about next time you're trying to avoid your colorful vegetables because you're worried about provitamin A toxicity. Alright, and again, that was published in Nature's Communication. This goes to baby formula. And this one's really serious. And this is one that you really do want to tell your friends, as opposed to other type of research articles. Alright, this comes down to one thing. In vitro study finds digested formula but not breast milk is toxic to cells. They just looked at premature infants and things along those lines. People, I should say. Babies, infants. What they discovered was this. That generally, that the infant formula themselves did not get digested all the way. It caused an issue called necrotosing enterocolitis, meaning that the intestinal tract basically died. It's a major problem for premature infants. And this is in their words. Free fatty acids created during the digestion of infant formula cause cellular death that may contribute to necrotizing enterocolitis, a severe intestinal condition that is often fatal and occurs most commonly in premature infants. Scientists have long known that premature infants fed formula are more likely to develop this necrotizing enterocolitis than those fed breast milk. Interesting, because the breast milk ironically has natural enzymes in it which help prevent this from occurring. Infant formula does not. Penn and other researchers have previously determined that the potentially digested food in mature adult intestines is capable of killing cells due to the presence of free fatty acids, meaning even if you were an adult and you took infant formula, it would still attempt to kill these cells, except for one thing. Mature intestinal tracts have an established mucosal lining that seems protected from these cell death. However, infants and those with leaky guts, keep that in mind, or leakier at birth, were very susceptible to necrotizing enterocolitis from the infant formula, or at least the ingredients in the infant formula itself. Overwhelmingly, the digestion of formula led to cellular death or cytotoxicity in less than 5 minutes, while breast milk did not. For example, they say, digestion of formula caused death in 47% to 99%, back this up, not just the intestinal lining, I should say neutrophils. 47 to 99% of the neutrophils, which is part of the immune system, while only 6% of them died as a result of milk. It says it may not benefit just not only premature infants, but also other individuals with leaky gut syndrome, as far as avoiding infant formula or things along those lines, such as those with autism spectrum disorders. So something to really evaluate, not just in premature infants, any infant that doesn't have a fully established intestinal tract, or the intestinal tract is still developing, or any individual that has intestinal issues such as leaky gut. Whatever the ingredients are in this infant formulas, or any other food that's similar to this infant formula, it has potential of causing death of neutrophils as well as necrotizing enterocolitis, but also anybody. So it's something to keep in mind. Look at these ingredients, find out why. The enzymes aren't there, but breast milk has a natural defense against this, which protects the infants and premature babies themselves. Incredible how nature worked that into the game. So sometimes, we get ahead of the step and think we're much smarter than nature without looking at the whole ball game. Now, as I said, I think we're much smaller than nature. Viruses cooperate or conquer to cause maximum destruction. It sounds like a video game, but it's not. And scientists have discovered new evidence about the evolution of viruses in work that will change our understanding about the control of infectious diseases such as the winter flu. What they discovered is viruses are becoming more and more acknowledged as being a sentient life form to itself. Why? Let's go a little further. Our previous research has focused on trying to force harmful microbes to become less threatening to the human health as they evolve. Why? Because they like to genetically engineer everything. And it makes sense. You try to put a sterile virus out there or something that reduces its population down or make it not as harmful to the immune system. You hope it propagates and therefore basically makes that virus less harmful. You hope. Alright. The University of Oxford proves viruses can readily develop the ability to adjust their behavior to maximize their spread in response to whether they're affecting a single entity or in combination with other viruses. And this is published on the December 13th Journal of Current Biology. Our work proves, the University of Oxford I should say, their work proves that regardless of how they try or we try to manipulate viruses, they will always switch their behavior to serve their own purposes and kill as many cells as possible. The study involved, in this case, it only involved a simple virus, something they thought they could easily overwhelm and control. It, however, evolved quickly. It is reasonable to assume that a lot of other viruses and parasites can too, or also. So it surprised them. This work shed light, and there's a dire warning at the end of this, shed light on the way organisms cooperate with each other. The viruses would, it's interesting, it's kind of like an extended family here, how the viruses operate. The problem is we're looking at the individual cell. We're not looking at the entire cast. So when we think we could basically manipulate one cell of one virus, or what should take this back, not cell, affect the virus itself, we think we can somehow cause it to reproduce. When looking at the outside in, it's protecting itself somehow. The work shed light on why organisms cooperate with each other. The virus would only cooperate with viruses it was related to, which is interesting. When it affected alone, it would clone itself within the cell and will cooperate with those new viruses. Now, when it had viruses in the system, besides it being a virus itself, or viruses are new, its neighborhood, or its old buddies or gang, it would replicate slowly, making way and room to make sure those other viruses had time to replicate also. So basically, if you're getting sick, you get sick slowly. Your immune system develops an opportunity to overcome it, whatever it is. Now, here's the catch. When you take that virus away from its buds, or its extended family, whatever you want to call it, and you create a new virus, a virus to itself, when it's not related to the other viruses, that virus by itself, not knowing the other viruses, becomes extremely predatorial and aggressive. And in their words, but when it interacted with other viruses that were not related, it killed the cells faster, allowing it to out-replicate and dominate other viruses. Think about that. You start messing around with viruses. Let's say you try to engineer something new, even for the benefit of mankind, you may actually spell its demise if you're not looking at the whole picture. Alright, that's it. I'm done. December 14th, 2012. I appreciate you guys listening. I tried to name it all ahead of time so you have to listen to the whole thing if there's nothing you're interested in, particularly. I hope you're interested in it, but if not, that's cool too. And I will catch you guys next week. All right. See you then.